So, got a real steel here. This is a real steel Sacra, natural micarta. All right, well, natural could mean a couple of things. It could be green, could be brown. And, of course, on these real steel knives, a couple of things they do that's interesting with their paperwork is they provide like a schematics of the knife, but it always has several versions. Like here's a liner lock, a button lock, and so I don't know which version this is. We'll have to get it out of there. Well, here, I guess I do know. It says right here. If you want to pause, you can get some dimensions and schematics. But it looks like, what are they calling this lock? A slide lock. So it's got a slide lock. A little over 3¼ inch blade, a little over 8 inches overall, about 2½ ounces. So very light knife. Okay. Well, let's get on in. It's folded steel liner. So it's like an integral. I mean, it's basically integral. It's one piece, but it's folded integral. And this natural micarta means like it's brown. Got some milling in it, deep carry pocket clip with good tension on it, centered blade. Well, let's get that blade out. Oh, nice soft action, slow roll. K110 steel, it's revealed right there. It's so light. I mean, obviously that slow roll is wonderful, but I'm pretty sure I can throw that blade out. Yep. Yeah, there's not a lot of tension on the backside of that. I do like the blade shape. This reminds me of a Kizer assassin. The blade shape, the handle shape, all of it. I'm pretty sure if I laid an assassin down right next to that, they would be incredibly similar. Yep. Beautiful laid back edge on that. It's almost polished. It's got a semi polished finish on that sharpening. I mean it jumped out and made itself noticeable. It's so nice. Yeah, very nice. I think I'm gonna look and see if for sure is the springs adjustable so I can create some detent pressure because right now it's almost non-existent. Now the knife does run really well, man. So it's got a little wiggle in it. I'm gonna get this out of our way and I'm gonna take a look at that wiggle first. Is it the pivot screws a little loose? Yeah, it was. Yeah, solid as a rock now. It feels a little tighter, but I still think I can throw it out. Yeah, but it's solid. One of my gray hairs, two of them. Yeah. Interesting. Well, let's take a peek inside here. I'm going to start on this side because if it's adjustable, I should be able to pull this side, this scale, and we'll see it here. I mean, I'm hopeful now because, yeah, that screw come out of there. And so, maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head if these are adjustable. I'm not sure if I've ever seen one before. So it is not adjustable. In the truest sense of it, doesn't have additional holes for me to move that around and make the adjustment. Um, but I see some very similar things to other knives from real steel that are in this genre. For one, this backspacer back here and how it functions. Um, yeah, I wonder if I can pull this other scale. I'm gonna try this screw. It felt like I could. Yeah, I can. So I can remove all of this and wipe this down a little bit, kind of clean it up, and I'm gonna just because it's, I don't know, it's awful dirty from assembly. I might be tempted to go ahead and tune this slightly, even though this is on loan from Timber's Edge, but it would definitely be listed as open box. There we go. Yeah, an open box item that has been handled, disassembled, and possibly tuned. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to take a run at these springs. So bear with me a second. I got to grab some supplies. Okay, we're going to do this side first. I got a piece of paper and a pencil. And I'm going to remove this spring. And I'm going to lay it on this piece of paper. And so what I want to do is I want to trace the outside of the spring. Okay, so now when I adjust this spring, I'm going to be able to see my progress. I'm going to be able to see the difference between what it is now. Let me get that a little closer to the camera. Well, how about I just bring the camera to it? Let's do that. So what I've done is I've traced that spring. And so I'm going to modify it. I want to add some tension to it. So I need to make it wider. So I'm very carefully going to kind of manipulate that wider a little bit. And I'm going to lay it back on there. And so now, do you see the difference here? The spring is way out here now, where the outside is way out there versus here. This was the old place. This is the new place. So I've added at least 1/8 of an inch in width in that spring. And so I'll want to do the same amount on the other side. But before I do that, I'm going to do a little cleanup duty inside here, because this thing is really funky in here. So before I put that spring back on, I wanted to clean this a little bit. All right, so it looks much better on this side now. So we'll reinstall this spring, and then we'll flip over to the other side, and we'll add that 1/8 of an inch or so to the other side. So by making that wider now, that tension is fairly substantial. I am going to put the scale back on, and hold that down because I don't want the knife to come apart at this point. And I'm gonna hold it down with the pivot screw. And the pivot itself is captured in the scale. You can see the flattened side here, so it's captured in there. So it's not going to turn, which allows me to take the screw out of the pivot from both sides. All right. Well, let's match up to our marks here and see where this one lands. Well, this one lands where the other one was, so I am going to stretch this one out a little bit too, very carefully. Trying not to go too far because I don't want to go back and forth with this. Looks like I could probably add just yeah, I think I'm there. I think I'm good to go. Okay, we've got this spring matching the other one, so let's go ahead and put it back together. But I want to wipe this side off first. A little wipey wipe. Just so you can see what I'm talking about here. Get up close. It's just smudgy. I don't know if it's fingerprints or grease from assembly or, a combination of both, but I want to clean that up, get it nice in there. There we go. All right, let's get our spring back on. Now, normally I would balance and tighten up this rear, but with the scale the way it is, I think I'm okay. There's a little wiggle in that. Let's, There we go. Yeah, it didn't really change it. I mean, I feel that there's a little bit more of a detent down on the bottom, but not a lot. Yep. Well, let's get these other screws back in. Get the pocket clip mounted back. Pocket clip is reversible. Okay. Nice and tight. All right, well, we adjusted it, but it didn't make a lot of difference. It's got a light detent on the bottom. And if I thrust enough, I have to get it down on the end of the knife. If I hold up top, no chance. But if I get down here, it allows me to create some momentum. Yep. Well, let's talk about this action. I mean, I'm gonna deduct for it being so light on the bottom. It does flick out really nice. thumb flick, spidey flick, and just using the springs. It's very intuitive, very easy to function, and I mean, so much so that I think I'd give it an A, not accounting for the lightness of it on the bottom. So, I mean, I think I'll drop it to an A minus because of the light detent. But I will say, I mean, watch here. It does have detent. Let me zoom out. I'm kind of zoomed in here. So it does suck that blade in. I mean, and quite early, way back here. And it sucks it in, I mean, with some authority. It does a pretty good job. So, I mean, I'm going to give it an A minus, though. It's still A-level action. It's wonderful. Yeah. Let's talk about ergonomics. So, I mean, 4 fingers. I can just get my 4 fingers on it. It's got nice jimping. The thumb studs come into play for a platform for my thumb. And so it does reminisce of the Assassin, the Kizer Assassin. Just kind of the same, just the right size to pack in here. It's got good jimping. It's not combat jimping, but it does provide some grip there. There's a pretty good cutout here that allows my index finger to lock in, but not so confident, very confident. I would come up a little shy of a confident grip just because I do think if I met resistance with this, there's a chance I could come up and over onto that blade. Reverse grip is solid. It's angled away from my thumb. The nature of the folded scales, the way that is with no backspacer in there, that's not something I would want to do a lot. That's pretty sharp on the back of my thumb or on my thumb, holding down on that. And then this one, not so much because that sharp part, it's up in the crook of my thumb, which is even worse. Yep. Pocket clip. Felt like it had good tension, and it does. I can feel it. Nice look with the liner being that folded polished steel. Kind of matches the pocket clip, so it's kind of an interesting look. In the pocket, great tension, so it'll have good retention. It is a little light on standard size jeans. Feeling that right there. That could benefit from a little extra tension. But yeah, not a bad look in the pocket. And it does okay. Let's check it for safety. Obviously, there's not going to be any opportunity for blade contact through the scale because it's folded over and it's basically an integral. The tip is not exposed. It's covered in there really well. So the clip is okay. The tip is good. And I can handle this knife any way I want without catching the sharp part. I want to test that lock. Yeah, that lock's going to be just fine. And so, let's check this steel. K110. It's basically D2. Yeah, super sharp. And it doesn't surprise me at all considering the grind that they put on it. I mean, it really does look like a polished, finished edge. Wouldn't surprise me if that wasn't stropped on leather or something. Very nice edge on it. All right, so the Real Steel Sacra. Let's get a price fixed on it. Okay, these look to be kind of being cleared out right now at like just over $60. I did see them listed for over $70, but I believe they're being cleared out right now for just over $60. So discount code puts it under $60, I believe. In that $55 to $60 range. So Real Steel Sacra K110 natural micarta, and it's got the integral folded scales. Yep, pretty cool. Hey, I appreciate y'all watching.